And my scripture readings today are from Matthew chapter 7, verses 7 through 8, and 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 1 through 7. And the first scripture is, "Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds. And to him who knocks, it will be open." And my second scripture is, one day the widow of a member of the group of prophets came to Elisha and cried out, "My husband who served you is dead, and you know how he feared the Lord. But now a creditor has come, threatening to take my 2 sons as slaves." "What can I do to help you?" Elisha asked. "Tell me, what do you have in the house?" "Nothing at all, except a flask of olive oil," she replied. And Elisha said, "Borrow as many empty jars as you can from your friends and neighbors. Then go into your house with your sons and shut the door behind you. Pour olive oil from your flask into the jars, setting each one aside when it is filled." So she did as she was told. Her sons kept bringing jars to her, and she filled one after another. Soon every container was full to the brim. "Bring me another jar," she said to one of her sons. "There aren't any more," he told her. And then the olive oil stopped flowing. When she told the man of God what had happened, he said to her, "Now sell the olive oil and pay your debts, and you and your sons can live on what is left over." And that ends the reading of our scriptures. Now we've enjoyed the holiday celebrations and welcomed in the new year. It is time to refocus our energy on our goals and on our spiritual growth. In this quiet month of January, the winter cycle of our life, many of us are spending more time indoors to keep warm and partaking in indoor activities. And one of these activities may be meditating. Meditating in the cocoon of our creative consciousness. Thinking about what is it we want to create this year. And then envisioning, how do we get there? How do we manifest these desires? Some of us may reset our intentions throughout the year. But often, if we haven't done so when the new year rolls around, our internal clock reminds us. It reminds us it's time for a reset. You know, it's sort of like running the updates on our computer. Every now and then you go to log off and we get that little prompt that reminds us to run the updates on our computer. And sometimes, as I did this weekend, the updates are a complete overhaul, updating the entire operating system. Well, if you think about it, the same can hold true for us. Periodically, We need to run those updates. And sometimes it may include complete system overhaul, getting rid and releasing those old programs, those old thoughts, and installing the new programs, the new thoughts as part of our maintenance. It's important that we take inventory of what is in that mental closet and clear it out periodically. And when we do that, what are we doing? We're making space. We're getting rid of the clutter, making space for the new ideas to grow. When we clear the clutter from our mind, now we have room to focus and grow these new intentions. Sometimes we get on that merry-go-round of life and we go round, go round, go round, unsure of where we're going and why. We just go. We just go and we keep going. No purpose. We want our journey to have meaning, to have purpose. So when we choose our ride, we want to select the intention, or with intention, what will lead us to our destination. Our first scripture was short and sweet, but boy, does it pack a lot of power. It teaches us that if we ask, it will be given to us. And when we seek, we shall find. The first step to manifesting our prosperity is to know what we want and then to ask God. God is infinite, and everything we could possibly want, it exists in the realm of God. Everything. Everything and anything is available to us. God is infinite. But first, we have to ask. Our mind has to be able to envision what we want so we know what to ask for. The law of attraction states that what we ask for is what we will attract to us. One of my favorite scriptures, as we thinketh in our heart, so shall we be. Consequently, we want our intentions to be specific and have purpose. Our intentions should reflect what our spirit is seeking. We have our physical wants and needs, which need to be satisfied for our daily existence. And these physical needs should not be overlooked. Our physical supports our spiritual needs and our goals. To find what we want to go deeper, deeper within us, to listen to the heart's desires of our spirit. What experiences did our spirit choose in this lifetime? We will find the answers and the guidance to these deeper questions in our meditation. When our mind is quiet, we can hear the subtle whispers of our spirit, that inner all-knowing, the Spirit of God within us. Once we are aligned with our spirit's desires, now we can begin to focus on these intentions. Now that we know what we want, we can ask. When we ask, we are telling the universe and God, this is what we want. So now we may begin to draw it to us. By asking, we are also reaffirming in our own consciousness what we desire. Yes, this is it. This is what I really want. And I am asking for the support of God and the universe to help me attain it. Next, we begin to take action by seeking. You see, we can't just say, God, this is what I want, and then sit back and do nothing, expecting everything to be placed in our lap. Oh, if it was only that easy. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. We are co-creators with God, and we need to do our part by taking action to achieve these goals. Once we have an idea, it percolates in our mind, and we figure out what we need to do to manifest it. We seek opportunities and we seek solutions that will lead us to our goal. Knock, and it will be opened to you. Again, we are taking action. When we are at the threshold of manifesting our desires, we have to knock and walk through the doorway when it is opened. This is the acceptance phase, accepting and enjoying the blessings of our fruits and our labors. The scripture says, for everyone who asks receives, and all who seek find, and to those who knock it will be opened. The act of asking, seeking, and knocking begins with us. In each of these stages, we are involved in taking action. To attain prosperity, we also want to have a prosperity consciousness, believing and knowing that we can attract to us what it is we desire, believing and knowing that we can manifest these goals, and then being open to receiving. One of my goals this year is to paint more often. It makes me happy, and it gives me a space to express my creativity. When I paint, my spirit is happy, and I go to this special place. I feel in tune with my own spirit and with God. Knowing this is one of my goals, I am open to ideas and inspiration. I'm always thinking and looking for things that I want to paint, seeking, purchasing what I need to be able to bring this to life on my canvas. making the space and the time to paint, surrounding myself with beautiful music. So I'm tuned in when I pick up the brush. When I paint, my spirit is fulfilled. We each want to find these things that fulfill us, make our spirit happy. And no matter what happens, stay the course. Sometimes life can throw us a curveball and things cross our path that we weren't expecting. Initially, it kind of catches us off guard. And we step back thinking, how am I going to get through this? And there are times we may feel as though we can't accomplish what we set out to do. Don't allow these setbacks to derail you from your goals. When we experience setbacks, perhaps there's a reason. Is there something else we need to experience as a stepping stone to reaching our goals? We can ask ourselves, what is the lesson of this setback or temporary pause in our progression? And don't ever lose sight of the final destination of attaining our goals. Dig in deeper, build up the stamina to stay on track. Some of our goals are marathon. They're not a sprint. How bad do we want it? And how much are we willing to work for it? The more energy we invest, the greater the likelihood of success. We want to continually build the momentum toward attaining our goals and never lose sight. And there's a few things that we can do to help build this momentum. Know and believe that you can attain your goal. Envision it. See it in your mind. See it in your mind happening. You can also use the daily I am affirmations. When we use the I am affirmation, we're claiming it. We're claiming it with power and conviction. I am. And we leave no room for doubt. Our second scripture teaches us that everything we need will be provided. The creditors threatened to take the widow's two sons as slaves for payment of her debt. She turned to Elisha. Metaphysically, Elisha represents the spiritual I am, the creative consciousness. Elisha asked the widow what she had in the house, and she told him all she had was a flask of olive oil. So Elisha instructed her to go out and borrow as many jars as she could from friends and neighbors. And he told her to then go into the house with her sons and shut the door and begin pouring the olive oil from the flask into the jars as each one was filled. The widow followed the guidance of the I am. The oil from one flask filled every jar to the brim until she ran out of jars. And then that is when the oil stopped flowing. God provided her with what she needed to pay her debts and enough to live on what was left over. The I am consciousness will guide us to what we need. when we are faced with challenging situations. Turn to the I am for guidance, to help find creative solutions to our problems. All we need to do is ask. Once the widow asked and stated what was needed, the universe responded. Elisha was put on her path and told her what to do. He told her to go borrow as many jars as she could. He was the conduit to the solution. She and her sons sought, and they found as many jars as they possibly could. The widow dug deep, and she believed. She began filling the jars with the olive oil while her sons collected more. And interestingly, every jar was filled until she ran out of jars. Her capacity to receive had been fulfilled. The flow of her prosperity didn't stop until she had enough to satisfy everything she needed, to satisfy her obligations, and to provide for she and her sons. The widow was aligned with her prosperity consciousness. As we align with the I am consciousness of God within us, so too will we be led to find our answers and the supply for all of our needs. All will be provided in divine order. Blessings to each of you as you manifest your dreams and desires. Invoke the I am consciousness to align your mind with the divine will of your spirit. Live boldly and dare to make your dreams come true. Make your spirit happy. For everyone who asks, receive. And those who seek, find. And to those who knock, the door shall be opened. Namaste.